welcome. We're back to another episode of The Sound of Sosa. I am your host, Ryan Porter Sosa, and today we are joined by Michael Levins, or Mike Levins. He is co-owner, right,
Yep, co-owner.
of Crosstown Exotics. He is an animal educator. I've known him since he moved to town back when we were in junior high together. We even did some sports as well. Very intelligent individual. He has a love for reptiles, as I did growing up. He has stayed invested in them, and I think everyone will enjoy what he's got to say about that topic. Obviously, our other tangents will go on, and then as well, I think we might have a chance to look at some pets in a minute. But let's see. I want to have him introduce himself, tell you about his social medias and everything.
Hi. Yeah, so I'm a co-owner of Crosstown Exotics. We do reptile education shows at like schools, birthday parties, libraries, almost any kind of kids event. We also do some film production stuff, a wide variety of different things. But yeah, if like someone's just looking to learn about some, reptiles or bugs, like we provide that to them. So like we'll bring lizards, snakes, turtles, tortoises. We're permitted to own crocodilians, so we have an alligator and a crocodile that we get to use in our programs.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's we got some cool stuff. We have some big tortoises, some giant snakes. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We've been it was 11 years this past November that we've had Crosstown, and then I think I'm going on like 2.5 years of doing it full time.
That's awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
it was like I think it was 2021. I quit my normal job, quote
Yeah,
unquote, because like it just got like the pandemic kind of like stopped us. Like
yeah.
things kind of went like stopped. So like
You
um
survived it though.
we did
That's awesome.
when that happened, like Colin and I started doing like Zoom, like Facebook live shows, just
Okay.
to keep interest going and stuff.
Yeah.
And then once like the pandemic restrictions kind of eased up a little bit, we were getting all kinds of calls, like just, hey, can we book you here? Can we book you here? And I met my wife in 2020, so like before her, I didn't have stuff going on like
Yeah.
on the weekend, so I was like doing shows, whatever, single dude. And then it got to the point where it was too hard to juggle the pest control job and Crosstown. So after chatting with her for a little bit, like she was like, "Well, if you think you can make it, like work, well, go for it." Because we, at the end of the day, it was kind of like if it didn't work out, all I had to do was fire up my resume again. It wasn't like we were gonna like starve and be homeless kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, you always had the backup.
yeah, but like it's the kind of like job that like it started off because we like animals, and it's stuck for a while because we like the animals. But it's not like hey, I'm gonna quit my job right away, this is gonna be successful. Like we had to build up just our social media presence and presence overall in the community, with like just schools and park districts and libraries and stuff like that. So like the way I think about it, it took like almost 10 years before I got to go full time doing
That is
it.
a very important thing that I definitely want to dive more into. But what I think is so great about that is the fact that a lot of people might see what you have and be like, "Oh man, I can go do that. I can just start it right now."
Yeah.
When in reality, you just kind of humanized it because you're showing people, "Hey, no, you have to invest a lot of time into something,
It was my
even if
thing,
it's,
like
you found something that you love, and so it's never gonna be a day at work." That's like this for me. If this can grow into something, then so be it. If it doesn't, I'm still gonna keep doing it because I like doing it.
yeah,
But you monetized your passion, and that's what I love talking to people about because you can just tell you don't even have to think
yeah.
about what you're talking about. Like
It's
you
like
it's
second
just
nature. It's
it
just like,
is,
yeah, because it's like
and I
we've been
love
doing it so
seeing
long,
that.
and it just like it's when you really like something, it's easy to talk about. And even like our selection of animals that we bring, it's like stuff that Colin and I enjoy because like it's just easy to talk about. Like like I've brought like the giant cockroaches places, and sometimes teachers are like, "You just talked for like 15 minutes about like a cockroach."
Cockroach.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Well, it's not that hard when you think it's cool and the kids think it's cool and
They're
stuff."
related to
Like,
shellfish.
yeah, so like a
That's
lot of
super
your
weird. Yeah.
insects and spiders and stuff, because I want to say they're all arthropods. So like crustaceans are a type of arthropod. So if you're allergic to shrimp and you eat a cockroach, you're gonna have the same
Allergic
reaction.
reaction. Yeah. Joe
Yeah.
Rogan said that he learned that on the Fear Factor
Oh, did he?
because the guy had
Okay.
a crawfish and they didn't know that, and he ate a cockroach and had a
Oh,
reaction.
jeez.
Yeah.
There was a guy, and this is like maybe 2010 or 2011, something like that, where there was a pet shop in Florida that was like, hey, whoever eats the most cockroaches is gonna win this like high quality ball python. Something was worth a lot of money, and some guy just mogged him, and he didn't know he had a shellfish allergy and died.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't like too. A lot of times people don't realize they have a shellfish allergy
'Cause you
until
don't
their
consume it that
30s.
much.
Well, because I found out. So like I was eating crab and shrimp my whole life, and then my first trip to Florida with my wife, she's like, "Oh, we're gonna go to this crab place," and I ate like it was like 8 legs. I remember it was a huge. It was like 2 pounds of crab meat, and like I didn't eat like none of the rolls, nothing. It was just straight crab meat. 45 minutes later, I'm like, babe, my eye, like, do I my eyes all red and like they're starting to swell. And then she took a picture of me like in the beginning with like my crab bib, and I was all happy. And then like an hour later, my eyes are swollen
Fuck.
shut, dude.
Poof.
Yeah, it was bad. And like
You got a
I
picture of it?
I don't know. She's probably got one somewhere. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. But
Yeah.
um, I remember like because I'm kind of cheap when it comes to like medical stuff. Sometimes I was like, I don't want to pay $400 to go to the emergency room, so I'm gonna wait this out. It was the weirdest feeling of like, I can breathe. I can breathe. Like I kept trying to be like, when do I say, hey, it's time to go? And like the Benadryl kicked in, and I was good. But it's
Oh, that's
still
good. Okay.
like I was sitting there. I'm like, all right, do I go now? Do I not go now? And then Mandy was very slick about like she was putting her hoodie on and getting her car keys ready, like to like go to the hospital. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, we're not doing that. I'm like, I'm just because
You're lucky, dude, because you could
yeah,
swell up.
some
I
yeah,
mean, I'm anaphylactic allergic to bees. And so yeah, it's a weird feeling.
and I've had it too. Like when I was reading into like reactions, like sometimes you eat crab meat and you might not have any reaction. Sometimes you eat it and then that's when your eyes swell. Like you can't really tell what kind of reaction you're gonna have, I guess.
Yeah.
So
So that happened with my mom. She went to Cabo San Lucas and had consumed uh lobster and stuff like that, but then she puffed up. So yeah, it's a weird thing that
yeah,
that
because
acquires to people.
um,
I got you off on a tangent though.
yeah, no, that's all
So
right.
can we circle back just for a
Yeah,
couple more
but
minutes to talk about crosstown exotics? You said you had to build it. It took 10 years to get there. Now you're at a point to where you're able to do it full time. And yeah, so just explain more about that. Like, how does someone get a hold of you to book?
yeah, so we do a lot through Facebook.
Okay.
I want to say like our Facebook page is probably I don't want to say 50%, but it might be because like we get a ton through Facebook. And then the other thing was we did this 2019, I believe, where we hired a company to do an SEO on our like just our website and got a legit website and everything.
Okay.
And once we did that, it was like when the pandemic restrictions lifted, we were searchable. Like we were
Yeah.
like if that makes sense. Like we were in that prime spot for that when someone booked like reptile show birthday party or whatever, we popped up. So
And so
like
what people just in case someone doesn't know, an SEO is a search engine optimization.
yes, the good point. Yeah, not everyone knows what that is, but yeah, once we got that going, that like helped tremendously. But we did a lot of like just like bootstrapping, like going to places like random festivals or get-togethers where they're just doing free stuff. Like, hey, like here's this random event at like the park district, and we went and set up and handed out business cards, or going into like there was a couple times like went to Lincoln Way and did free stuff just to kind of pass out our cards to kids or
That's
just
awesome,
stuff
man.
like that. And like there was a lot of things we did that we didn't get paid for, but like
Yeah.
it kind of in the long run then started helping out. Um, and it just there was a like there's a long time of just doing a lot of like kind of like just free work trying to get your name out there.
Yeah.
And then once it started coming in, then it was I don't know like a snowball effect.
Mhm.
And then the other thing that helped too is Colin and I talked about how like Chicagoland is like when you got a guy like that's your guy, if that makes sense. Like whether
Yeah.
it's like
It's that South Side mentality.
yeah. So like when Jim Nessie retired in 2020, he was the guy with the big alligator. He did shows and stuff like we do,
Yeah.
except like he was like the OG, like was doing
Yeah.
it since like the 70s or something crazy like
Okay.
that. And he retired, moved to Florida, and that left a big void because he did a ton of schools and like birthday parties come like they come a lot. They're one of those things like you don't have to try for in a sense anymore. Like they just kind of
Yeah.
come to you. But like your schools, your libraries, your big events, like he did a lot of those, so it left like this vacuum. And then it was kind of nice. We got to piggyback on that. But I will say one thing that Colin does most of our booking and talking to people.
Okay.
But you'd be surprised at how many of these places like you'll get one park district that like this lady is like your go-to person. Then she moves to another park district. Then you got to like call them back. So Colin was doing a lot of like just follow ups and like a lot of tenacity. Colin does all of our people like he talks with people with booking and stuff way better than
He's
I
yeah,
do.
the company organizer almost,
Yeah,
yeah.
like that's like I can go do a birthday party, get in front of 1,000 kids, show them lizards,
Yeah.
but Colin's the one that like really kind of brings our, the working with the customer, like to,
Mhm.
bait the hook, so to speak. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of times people, our presentation's huge too. Like, is people see like our website or our social media, and they're like, oh, these guys have some cool stuff,
Yeah.
and then do that. And I will say he was also real big. I never realized how important Facebook was early on. Like he kept like he's like, hey, we got to get more likes on here. We got to get people following us. And I'm like,
He was
they're,
smart for noticing that
but
10
like
years
for
ago,
me,
yeah.
like I was like,
Mhm.
dude, they're likes. Like
Honestly, I
and
misinterpreted it
say
so
and
much.
then now that I see how much of our business comes from Facebook, and sometimes just even getting like I forgot, like when we were doing the Facebook lives or whatever a while back, we had like some companies, like reptile companies, that would see our stuff, and like now we talk like with like caging companies, like, oh hey, like can we have some of your animals put in our cages while they're at this expo or whatever type thing. So like
Yeah.
just the whole networking thing in general is was huge. But yeah, when the beginning, I'm like, dude, it's like so what? Like, cool, we got a couple likes or whatever, but now it's like, yes, I get it, like where it's very important to get a lot of that, and just trying to post, even figuring out trying to figure out
Yeah.
algorithms is almost impossible. Because I remember early on too, like Colin was very big on like the hashtag and doing it the way like you're
You're
supposed
supposed
to.
to, yeah.
But then I would post something, he's like, I don't know how you got double the likes on that, but like it's not fair, or something like,
Sometimes it's your
yeah,
friends
just
group,
you just got lucky on
you have
that.
more people that are active on it than he
Yeah.
does, it's sometimes yeah.
But yeah,
But
that was a big thing, is doing some of that. And I think the other thing when COVID hit was still trying to supply stuff to people, like putting our live streams out and doing stuff online.
getting
So
yourself to the
people,
customer, so
yeah,
yeah,
because like
that's
people, because we had a couple parties we booked. I remember that people just were like, "Hey, like, we just needed to get together with kids. We're happy that you guys still came out," and like, sort of thing. But yeah, no, like, just marketing was huge in in the beginning and stuff, and it definitely was too. Like a lot of just I think tenacity is the best word, because there's a lot of times where Colin and I were going 7 days a week, or like six, like you have work Monday through Friday, and then you're doing shows on the weekends. And it was like my vacation days were used a lot of times to do shows during, like if I had schools, I lined up using my vacation days to do these schools or
yeah,
all that stuff. So it was like I might end up with like 3 days that like I actually used to like, do
do
something I
something,
wanted or
yeah.
whatever. But
And you have to
um
love it. That's the
yeah.
difference,
And it
because
was
if you
kind
didn't
of,
love it, you wouldn't have pushed
yeah,
like that.
and like kind of seeing like there might be something at the end. I know like what really like I guess like after meeting my wife and getting like, hey, like I've got someone to like back me up in case this doesn't work out and I'm not going to go homeless. Like
Yeah,
that kind of made it a little easier to make that jump.
yeah.
And it helped too, because like the nice thing was she was like, I could see you were booking stuff and bringing stuff in, so she's like, it wasn't like a like you were gonna
Going
make
blind,
money, but
yeah.
like it just I think it just it was
But
just
having that
scary.
support there is
Yeah,
still essential. Even if
I
she
remember
couldn't
Phil.
support you
Yeah,
financially, just having her moral support and having her verbal
yeah,
support is so
yeah.
essential.
Because like I remember too, like when she told all her family and friends, like, "Hey, Mike is gonna quit his normal job." Like I think her parents were a little like, "Oh
Scared.
shit!"
Well,
Like,
yeah, that's just, yeah.
but like everyone was like, "Oh, good for him! Like that's awesome!" Like it was never like, "Is he
I didn't
dumb?"
know you were doing it full time. That's all.
Yeah,
Proud of
and
you,
like I
man.
get it too. Like when I like, "Hey, can I quit?" Like because I think I was making like 50 something thousand a year doing the pest control, and I got insurance and 401k.
Yeah.
But to like be like, hey, can I quit this good paying job to like bring reptiles to kids' birthday parties? You know what I mean? It's like it's not like anytime you say you want to do stuff at birthday parties, I feel it sounds just I want to be a clown, I want to do a magician, like face painting. So
Yeah.
like that I was glad to have that support there. But yeah, if we want real quick, I'll pull outside, just look at
Yeah,
the
no, let's
time
take a
here.
look at some of the animals.
I don't even remember what I
And then
got.
hopefully when we get you back in here again, maybe we can find a better time slot to where
Yeah,
but I know it's hard with the
well, I think
baby and everything
like
and
today it worked out like because we have that Wild Fest event coming up.
yeah.
Our walkthrough at the Park District building was tonight, and like I know too, just you like your job, someone showed up late and stuff, so it
Yeah,
threw us
so
all.
yeah,
We'll find another day to
no,
figure it out.
definitely. And I would like to do more with even seeing this or I mean
Oh
anything.
yeah, like I mean, next time we come out, if I'm here longer, I'll try. I can bring some stuff or schedule another one. Like, hey, we're just gonna check out some shit,
Yeah.
or like you're saying, having Colin come on with
Yeah, no,
me,
I would love
or
to have Colin come on with you, or maybe even have
yeah,
Jose join us too, the guy that breeds
yeah,
snakes that
yeah,
I had
yeah.
on, just to kind of get
It,
because he
does
would love to learn too,
does he set up at the NARBC? The big
Oh, I
one?
think he's going to this year.
Oh, nice.
He does like he works part time at the reptile house too. But yeah, no, he has his whole setup and everything. I think I just want to get you two together, and I mean, obviously, probably getting you two together on this would probably be the easiest way. But um, I think you guys could do. I mean, I think you guys could supplement each other in some
Oh
way.
yeah,
It's always
anytime
good to
it's
know each other,
just
you
meeting
know.
new like I don't know, like sometimes you might meet one guy, he's like, like just meeting reptile people. You meet someone like that breeds snakes and says, "Hey, I got this snake, not the best breeder, but it's super handleable and cool. You want it for shows." Like
Yep.
stuff like that or like, like I breed stuff sometimes, so it's nice to sell
To
here and
yeah,
there.
swap ideas and recipes for
Yeah.
lack of better terms.
So this one I got here, this one we're going to see here is a raise up animal. So like
Let me
oh
see
sorry.
which person. No, no, you're good. Go.
Okay,
I
gotcha. I
just want
was
to see
talking
what perspective would be better. Oh,
for
this one will
sure.
be better.
But it's one of our baby green anacondas.
Holy shit! It's a baby anaconda.
Now, just throwing this out there,
Raise it up so.
if she nips me at all, don't no one freak out there because
Oh shoot!
she's still like in training quote. So
Gotcha.
I've brought her to like some various like our critter classes and a couple schools, but she every now and then she'll just strike out of nowhere. But her name's Sylvie. Like I don't know if you watched the
Here, I'm
Loki
gonna switch it
series.
to the other one. If you want
Oh,
to
there
go to
she
that
goes.
camera right there,
Which one?
it's
This?
that one right there.
Am I? I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
like
no,
confused.
that's a good one. That's a good view right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, she
Bit
is
my hand there a little bit. I
beautiful.
don't know if you saw that.
She bit it.
Yeah.
Did it hurt?
No,
Does
it's
she have teeth?
you can see I got a couple little red marks.
Ooh.
But like that's why I like say she's in
So
training.
she will get.
We're when these guys are very used to people and being handled, they're great. We have a big one named Nebula that we bring to like a lot of our birthday parties and schools, and she's awesome. But this one here, it's just like any baby animal, you got to work with them. Like you bought a puppy, they get nippy, they get
Yeah.
a lot of just got to build trust. Got to let her know that hey, when she's out,
So she'll get to a full size anaconda.
yeah, yeah, this is like the 16 to 20 feet. They can
I'm
weigh
in
a
complete
couple
awe.
100 pounds. These used to be when we were in high
Hi,
school. These were
beautiful.
super common. They were like
Really?
$150. Now they're very hard to come by.
Hi,
Um,
beautiful. I saw you eat LL Cool J.
yeah, right.
I-
John Voight.
Man, they got you good, dude.
Oh yeah, that's I wasn't expecting her to grab me
Did it
like that.
hurt?
No, it's like
No.
just a quick like prick.
Pinch?
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to
But
bring my daughter in to see him. Can I go grab her really quick?
yeah, that's fine.
If you want to get the next one, I'll be right
Yeah.
back.
Let me get this one put away. Skylar, come here right now. All right. Let's that off a little bit. Here, I will here, come on this side, sweetie.
Hi. All right, everyone. This is my daughter. I don't really like bringing her on this, but I want her to see these things.
So this one right here, let me get the windshield off.
You see that?
This is Gucci. And Gucci is a baby radiated
You want
tortoise.
to raise them up to one of the.
Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to.
Oh yeah. No, I apologize.
I didn't want to get like gross people out. My
Yeah.
oh, there we go. Sorry, I'm trying to.
So
see
that's Gucci there.
Yep, he's a radiated tortoise. This guy here, I actually have to have a permit for because these are considered an endangered species in Madagascar.
Really?
So it's kind of cool. Like they're hard to get because you can't cross state lines with them,
Yeah.
like the way the permit system is. So a friend of ours that was breeding them said, "Hey, I'll donate one to you guys' programs if you're interested." And I just had to fill out the permit, which was easy. A lot of times it's like you fill out the permit, they give it to you. You just have to have proof that you didn't poach it or take it out of the wild.
Yeah.
So I get to bring in a super cool tortoise like this to show to kids, like, hey, here's an animal that is having these issues in the wild. We kind of learn a little bit about like why they're endangered and stuff like that. But and then they get to interact with it because a lot of times when people get to interact with stuff,
They
they care.
appreciate it.
Yeah, they like I know when Steve Irwin was talking about who were those two not the Ringling brothers the guys with
The guy with tigers.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
he was like, hey, like granted he got attacked, but they show people how cool tigers are, and they make them want to care about tigers. You know, but yeah, no, it's just a super cool tortoise. Got a really nice shell. That's one of the reasons they're poached a lot is because they're pretty shell.
Yeah,
But yeah, he was born here in the United States, and
how big will he get?
about the size of a watermelon,
Oh,
like a
really?
basketball maybe.
And how long will he live?
as long as me. They'll live
Oh,
like
okay.
80 to 100 years. Yeah,
Wow.
just as long as people.
They'll live 80 to 100 years, man.
Yeah.
He just had
Um.
an anaconda out.
Yeah, that's why I got
Yeah, he
the.
got bit by the anaconda.
Uh-oh. It happens. When you work, I like a lot of times I'll joke with kids like when you work with animals, at some point you're gonna get bit. At some point something's gonna poop on you. You know,
Yep, poop and pee on you. It's like a baby.
it is like having kids. This one's pretty cool. So this one,
Sometimes it's harder because they can't speak.
true. This is an Iranian giant gecko. It looks very similar to a leopard gecko.
Oh, wow. It does look like a leopard gecko.
Except it's huge.
Yeah.
And this one's still growing. His name's Kraglin, and he will get almost a foot long.
How old is Kraglin?
He will be 2 in October.
Oh, and he's still growing. Wow, that's a long.
Like I said, they get a foot. Like his
Yeah.
his parents were both like this big.
Really?
I got
Still
got him at the Tinley show.
Oh, really?
So
they store fat in the tail like
Yeah.
leopard geckos and everything. Yeah.
So like I guess leopard geckos, I like either. I might have this wrong, but either leopard geckos are a subspecies of these guys, or these are a subspecies, something like
Yeah,
that.
the one that comes
Because they're
with a-
very similar.
It's like boxers and American bulldogs. They
Some
come from each other,
because this one they're from Iran, in this place called the Liam Peninsula. But like they're very closely related. Where like when they were first importing leopard geckos, I heard like people think that these might have been mixed in, and the
Mhm.
giant morph came from them or something.
Okay.
So I don't know, but he's just a super, I mean, super laid back gecko.
Super chill.
And
Yeah.
two, like Colin and I like to bring animals that, well, yes, someone might have a leopard gecko at home, but like they're not gonna have one this big.
Yeah.
You know, and he's still growing and he's huge.
Yeah.
We try to bring stuff that's just very unique that even like sometimes zoos might not have, like, or like when you go to the zoo, they don't let you
Can't
pet
hold it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it stinks. Like I love the shed aquarium and everything. But
Yeah, that's my favorite.
it's hard going there because everything's in a tank, you know,
Yeah.
and it's only so much fun.
And
a
too,
tank.
like they just even like they do outreach stuff sometimes where like kids, you know, they'll bring out a snake or whatever, but like it's always something like dinky or not like you know, like look at this giant animal, you know, like a big snake. Like they're not gonna bring
Yeah.
out the anaconda.
Yeah.
Which I get there's a lot of like, you know, you gotta worry about liability and stuff, but
Yeah. No.
that's where
100%.
we kind of fill in. We get to
Let's
bring
not Lion King this shit.
Yeah. Here's another one. This guy's another one of the animals I need a permit for. And this guy's name is Groot. I wanted to bite your
Groot.
Groot. Yep.
Oh, it's a snapper.
This is an alligator snapper.
Whoa!
So I
Look
don't know
at
if we can see
that
that on there.
thing.
This guy
Oh!
here, he's going on about 5 years old now, and he'll get, you know,
He'll take a
150
finger
plus
off.
pounds when he's full grown. And
150 pounds.
Yeah, alligator snappers. I want to say one of the largest freshwater turtles in the world. We have a couple more of these guys. I have one that's 35 pounds and one that's about 45 pounds. You can find them in Illinois, but they are only in southern Illinois. So one of the reasons you have to have a permit for these is because they're considered threatened or endangered in most of the states they live in.
Hey, Scoot.
Okay, I was trying to watch a little bit on there.
Yeah.
Oh, Scoot, yeah, this
No,
way.
well,
So he's
you
in.
know, so I can hear your voice.
Oh, gotcha. And while his mouth is open, it's kind of hard to tell, but he's got his tongue looks like a worm. So
It
they sit really
does.
still and they wiggle it, and fish get close, and
And
then he
that's
goes
how they
chomp.
trick it. Wait,
Yeah.
What is that thing opening in the middle? That's white.
That's his like windpipe. So the reason his mouth is all brown is because when he's in the swamp, he doesn't
It
want.
blends in.
Yeah, because if we open our mouth, it's pink, and they're gonna be
Yeah.
like, "That's weird. I'm not going by it." But yeah, I can't wait for him to get big. He's gonna be an impressive turtle.
Dude, he is so cool looking.
These are my favorite animal. Because they're like
We
having a
used to
dinosaur.
try and catch them in Florida. They were always in
Oh,
the,
nice.
and we caught one a couple times, and like they
I-
would try to bite your finger
Yeah.
off. Like, yeah, you'll lose a finger.
I remember
I
catching
don't
a
wanna
snapping
lose
turtle
a
with Bob
finger.
one time. Me and him went out like
I
late,
want you to lose your
and
finger.
we were in a creek or something. I caught like this big common snapper because Bob was like, there's a snapper. And I carried it like 3 blocks back to his house to put it in his pond, and then it crawled out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he's a survivor.
Yeah. Saw him.
I don't know that I like this angle of myself now that I'm looking at myself in the being whoa.
So this is Maui. He's our African giant bullfrog.
Oh, here, pull the mic out more.
Oh,
towards- or
sorry,
You
yeah.
can probably pull it towards you.
There we
Or-
go. Okay, it's showing up really good. Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to watch. So this is our African giant bullfrog, and he's actually he'll still growing. Some of these guys can get closer to 5 pounds. He weighs about 2 pounds right now. He's about 5 years old, and they can actually live 30 plus years.
Really?
Yeah, and this guy here will eat anything that goes in
Gerbils?
front of him. Yeah, we feed him small rats. We do fish. He'll eat cocktail shrimps, earthworms. And we know he's
That's
a
so
boy because
cool.
he's got these cool orange armpits. Yeah, we actually got him when he was like this big. He was super
Oh,
tiny.
really? I'm gonna
Yeah.
switch scenes real quick, see if I can get a little better. I like
Yeah.
that actually. Yeah, not a bad angle.
And I would say like if he's next to one of these water bottles, shows
Yeah,
the
you kind
head
of see
up.
the size.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
that's
a
so
big frog
cool.
though. But yeah, he's one that we bring in almost every show, birthday parties, schools. And we have a couple of these guys. We have Maui, and then we have another one named Jelly Bean.
Jelly bean.
Yeah, Jelly Bean.
I would like to see that thing eat.
It's we do, and he eats all pre-killed. So like, I mean,
Oh, okay. Have you ever given it live or no?
I mean,
That's dangerous,
I
right?
have in the past, but like it's usually because I had a live rodent for somebody and they
Yeah,
didn't
and
eat
didn't
it,
eat
so I
it.
just fed
Yeah,
it off. But yeah,
you probably knock it out though,
most of
right?
the rodents I get, it depends on what it is.
Okay.
Because like there's been times where like if I had a bunch of mice for whatever reason, I would just toss them in. But like
Rats can do damage
they
though.
can. But that's why like 95% of the rodents I get, it's all pre-killed. Usually I'm
Yeah.
only getting live for like a specific reason or whatever. So, but
And people aren't perfect.
and a lot of times you get like where one guy finds something out and it's against the normal status quo. It might take a while for this to
Graham Hancock.
catch
Perfect
on,
example.
or whatever. So it's like one of those like like a lot of artists their pictures aren't worth anything when they're alive, but when they're
They
dead,
die.
it's
Yeah.
sometimes people's data isn't worth anything until some person 50 years from now is like, oh, let me look at this, and then
Takes it apart and like, hey,
yeah,
holy shit! Look at
or
Nikola
they
Tesla.
compare two different things, and you're just like, yeah, like Tesla, like he had that.
Before Tesla was the company was made, if you asked someone who Tesla was, they'd be like, "Oh, I have no idea. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?"
Yeah,
You
that's
know, you're talking about the Tesla. What is the Tesla sphere or something like that? There's some no,
Tesla
no,
coil.
that's Dyson sphere. Sorry. Yeah, but even then, people
Yeah.
wouldn't even known about that. You know, Tesla
Yeah.
was essentially his work was suppressed. It was stolen by the FBI. There's this whole
Because
thing where there
Edison
was,
ended up winning, like like he's the more famous,
which is total bullshit because he used some of his patents and as well he wanted DC, which was fucking. He tried to show that it was safe and he fried elephants
Yeah,
and shit.
I remember that too.
Like,
I don't know how you get away. Only back then you get away with. Stuff
yeah,
like
with
that.
fucking
Yeah.
torching it, fucking crucifying an elephant and still being looked at as a good guy. When in reality, Einstein even said it. Nikola Tesla is the smartest man on the planet.
Yeah.
Like the guy, his electric engine, because there was electric cars back then. People don't realize that there was electric cars back then that were actually produced and stuff like that. But the electric motor that Tesla was using would have been more efficient than the gas one. But because of people like John J.D. Rockefeller or John Rockefeller, J.D. Rockefeller,
Okay.
right?
I think
That's
so,
the
yeah.
oldest one. He spent a lot of money in suppressing other industries to ensure his one. People said that
Huh.
he helped with the prohibition of marijuana because he was an extreme Baptist. Did you see him not transporting liquor?
Oh, like
Yeah.
yeah.
If he was an extreme Baptist, why did he transport liquor?
Yeah, that's like
That was a big bulk of his money on trains.
Huh.
He suppressed marijuana because he knew that he could take out the hemp industry, which was a rival because you could produce a burnable fuel.
Yeah. I think that one of these guys is just clawing around.
You got your animal. Yeah.
You're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, no, I thought it was maybe my bearded dragon. I'm like, but why can I hear it?
Yeah.
He helped suppress it because there was like 5,000 or what is it, 5 million textile items that were able to be produced back in the 20s
With just hemp.
of hemp. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
All our rope was made out of it. Literally there was orders to the James Colony to produce it early on. It was a very big cash crop because there's so many things that can be made out of it. Literally, our Declaration of Independence is written on it, but it's illegal.
Know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was on hemp paper. That's cool.
Yeah, and this stuff lasts longer. It has a zero carbon footprint because what it takes in it gives off when it's what is it called? Like when you do the oil,
Like
when you
burn
refine it.
Oh, refine it. Okay.
Or like when you manufacture it, it gives off what it takes in. You don't have to crop rotate it because it doesn't deplete the soil.
Okay.
So that's amazing. And you can grow like 4 times as much of it on an acre of land than you can of corn. So ethanol, you end up getting a 16 times yield from hemp than you do from corn for ethanol 85.
Yeah.
Which you can make it 50 cents a gallon, make it actually produce, worth it. Like there's a hemp concrete that they've made that actually has a negative carbon footprint. It's resistant to expansion and contraction. And so you're talking about reducing carbon, and as well, you don't have to worry about places like in Chicago, cracking.
Yeah, or like what's it in India? I think right now they're going through such a big building that like these guys are stealing sand from the beaches, like because like they need sand to make concrete.
Yeah.
So like there's like these guys with like giant dump trucks and they're like just filling them up with sand. It sounds weird. I watched the
No, I
document.
could see it happening.
YouTube has weird document, like especially if you get in some of those like I don't even know how my algorithm's got to be weird sometimes, but it was getting like all these like documentaries from like the UK and stuff, and then that one popped up with sand, and I was like, what a weird thing to like steal because
Yeah.
like it just. But I guess it makes sense when you don't have like
When you need the resources, people find where to get them.
yeah,
You know.
like you're trying to do like they need concrete, and I'm like, oh, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. We have went over so much stuff. Holy
Yeah.
guacamole!
A lot of random, like
a lot
got
of
rabbit
random.
hole.
Yeah, so this will probably be like the third segment that I think.
I will say like
I've enjoyed this though.
oh yeah, I'm a very Rick and Morty personality where it's like your rabbit holes can go.
I love Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I've rewatched so many of those episodes, but
Dude.
like I think I like it because that's how like sometimes like life is just like this is weird, this is weird.
Well, we both have ADHD.
Yeah. Yes.
And I do believe that it's actually you can once you figure out. I was able to use it to a benefit for so long. My mother taught me how to, and it was funny because I never thought that like anyone thought in this way. And then of course Joe Rogan talks about it. Like I
Yeah.
feel like he's becoming the Simpsons of this type of world.
Yeah,
yeah.
like well, I think everybody seems like there's so many different I don't say symptoms, but like things that are ADHD related that we didn't think, like procrastinating. Like everyone's like, "Oh, you're just being lazy," and it's like,
so. I think there's the way that kind of I've started to look at the way you can use it to benefit yourself is when you're doing something and you have that little random tangent thought.
yeah,
Use that to remember what you were just working on. So you create that link.
yeah.
And
That's like I would say training. Like you
It
trained
is, yeah.
yourself for that. Like
and there was more to it. But I'm of the belief that this is our brain adapting, evolving,
Yeah,
whatever you want to
change it,
say.
yeah.
And it's supposed to be happening to us because we're in such a high environment area. We need to be able to switch from topic to topic, back and forth.
yeah,
order
and
to
that
stay
probably helped when you were
productive.
a caveman and you're like walking and you're like
Well-
saber-tooth tiger, mastodon, gotta run,
Yeah,
gotta go.
yeah,
Like
you're focusing on two predators
Yeah.
coming at you, yeah, or trying to hunt one while one's coming after
yeah,
you.
or
You
just
know,
thinking about
'cause-
all that stuff or what like just responding to different things.
Well, like even autism, everyone looks at it as such a hindrance, and yeah, it is. But I just think that we don't understand how to nurture it yet. I think that we can use it, or we can not use it, but we can actually develop it into an extremely successful person because there are a good amount of people who have had autism.
I
Yeah,
think
I
the
know
guy
that. I know
that
it's a
invented
spectrum.
Pokemon was autistic.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I thought I thought he
maybe.
was like
Let's see.
because it was supposed to mimic
well,
his
you
bug
know-
collection or something, and then
Well, okay, Elon Musk. Everyone knows that now because he admitted he had Asperger's on SNL.
okay.
You have the guy, Mr. Vallejo. Do you remember him?
Why does it sound
Not
familiar?
is it Vallejo? No, it's the Volva, Mr. Volva.
Yes, yes. He
Mr.
was a
Volva.
wrestling coach.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just
Yeah.
know he did science too. But his brother, autistic, multimillionaire, and this was back in 2004.
Oh
Five.
wow.
Multimillionaire, lived in a trailer, rickety trailer. He invented the chemical reaction for glow sticks.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so the way I think about it is, okay, autism in a lot of cases is hyper focused and being able to specialize in one thing,
Yeah.
and they become great at it because they become infatuated with it. I think if you look at how America grew in such an amazing way, the Industrial Revolution, you had the specialization of individuals in a job function. The brain is specializing itself into a job function. We just need to identify what that is at an early stage,
Yeah.
and so that kid can thrive in that
And
area.
that's what they work on. I think that's why like when
But
people
we're so bad with it.
well, like I think when people are like, why do we see all these cases of X, Y, and Z popping up? I think we're just better at identifying stuff. Like when
Yeah,
people are like,
yeah.
where did all this autism come from? Like it's always been there. We just kept saying that kid was slow.
Yeah,
Do you-
but
like-
not as much. Because like Robert F. Kennedy talked about it a little bit too, and yeah, I do agree with that. It's like
Do you
when
know
you
what I-
buy a
like-
car, you start seeing that car everywhere.
Well, no, I'm just saying like
It's
we,
a perception.
No,
thing.
like we understand things better. So like
we're not just
when-
we're not
when
clumping
you
into
have-
everyone being
when-
crazy.
When you have a kid that is on his tiptoes doing this all the time, it's not just, oh, that's just his thing. Like, hey, could be a problem. Like, you realize that could be a
We're
problem.
drilling in.
Or you have a kid that doesn't smile at a certain age. You're like, hey, like, let's, this is a thing,
Yeah.
And like my dad like had like some kind of like a learning disability, and like when he was a kid, he was just called slow. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Now it's like,
they're
hey,
lumped into one
yeah,
category
now you
without
have
figuring
this,
it
and I
out.
like, I think the things have always been there. It's just either, it just no one took the time to look at it, or we know more about. Like when my we were in the hospital, like having the baby, we had we left on a Friday, and then ended up having to go back on Monday because my daughter's Billy Rubin was a little off. But
Yeah,
how many babies had significant issues because they didn't test Billy Rubin, or they didn't check mom for X, Y, and Z. Certain things like that, or even postpartum depression. Like I've watched a couple things just to scare myself to make sure I watch. And my wife hasn't any issues, but it's just one
yeah.
of those like
No, you should be aware of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and like
because
and
you're the one
sometimes
that has to watch out for
you
her.
you
She
know
can't really do it for herself
yeah,
in
and
that
sometimes you
situation.
like in the past, some of these women might have been vilified. I mean, granted, like if you drown your kids or something, like
Yeah,
like it's
sad.
shitty,
Yeah,
but like it's like I don't say they can't help it, but like you know what I mean. Like you understand certain things like that better, which is all kinds of mental illness. Like it just we understand it better than 40 years ago or something. Back when it was just like, don't be a sissy, don't be slow. That guy's just
and
slow or
I definitely agree with
whatever.
that to an extent. But I wasn't born back then. But when hearing Robert F. Kennedy talk about it, he brings it more to I guess it's anecdotal too. But when he references someone else's age, they agree with them. Whoever he had the interview with. But he said that, how many special needs people did you know growing up? And he's like, can you name five? He's like, no, I probably couldn't have. And he's like, now almost anyone you talk to can say they've known or seen someone. Back then, you would barely ever see it.
I want to say, like, depending on that person's age, some of those students may not have had to go to school. They might not have been required
That's a good
to go.
point.
Like, so, like,
That's a
Kevin's
good
little
point.
brother
Yeah.
had to go to, even though,
A
like,
special school. Yeah.
yeah, but like, they still made him progress, and like as they should, he still went to school, but so, like a lot of these podunk little small towns, like they might
They
not have
never
had.
had that. Yeah.
Like you have a kid with Down syndrome, he's at home with you all day, or you have the kid that has this, and think about how much longer kids live now with certain things, like
Yeah.
like I don't want to just start harping on Down syndrome or whatever, but like
No.
they end up with like heart issues, like
Yeah.
over time they've learned like, hey, this someone with Down syndrome has a heart issue,
Let's
we
catch
do
it early
this,
on. Yeah.
and they live 10 years longer,
Yeah.
or this person has this, well, we can correct it now, they live longer,
That's a very good
and
point,
there's more
man.
acceptance, like
Yeah.
sometimes people are like, I never saw this, I never like things were some of these people were locked in a
It's
closet
just
back then,
ignorance sometimes. Yeah.
they're just not, like
That's so fucked up.
the world's
They're
huge and
locked in a
getting
closet.
small. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like
No, it's the truth
things,
though. Yeah, that
it's just
shit
like
happened a
sometimes
lot.
people, depending on the family too. Like some families are even nowadays, some families are great with like, oh hey, like we have a kid that's Downs or has this or that, and like, you know, they don't talk, like some families don't want to talk about like, oh it's shameful, or some people are like, hey, this is Jimmy and he's great and we love Jimmy and we incorporate him, like,
Yeah.
so it just depends on your, like my older brother, he's got some stuff that I think I always get a different like answer sometimes, but like he can't live on his own. He can't like be put in a home or whatever. But like I still like when he's out, I try to have him come out once a year to visit me and do
Yeah.
stuff and like incorporate it. Like there's times where like,
Have you tried to maybe find him like a social group? Like, you know what I mean? Like they
well,
have
he
like,
he lives in Idaho with his mom. Like so
okay,
we have the same dad, different moms.
okay,
But like the way she described it, he's not bad enough where he could like be put in a home or like a group,
yeah,
and he can't like manage money on his own. But he's also sometimes too like you have to talk to him a minute to like
calm him down.
realize something's wrong. 'Cause, like sometimes he
Oh,
like you could talk to him at first and he'd be like, "Hey, I need this," and you not even realize he's got anything going on.
yeah,
But like I've had to like message people on Facebook a couple times like, "Hey, sorry for my brother's comment." Like like I just like yeah, he like would go off on a tangent. Like I forgot who he was talking to, but like he was going off on how like they had to pay $8 for a movie ticket, and he's like he got to see a movie free, and I'm like my brother's special is just like like just don't like ignore it, or he thinks he's a rapper, like whatever, like it's kind of funny, but
yeah,
we
no,
love him,
and
we love
yeah,
him,
no,
so
and obviously, I mean, you're gonna get people that are like that without disability. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
But like sometimes like I make sure I still take him, even though like sometimes he's a
you
pain in the butt
have
or
to.
whatever, or try to get him to do different stuff. But like, there's other people that don't do that with some of those. Like they might have a brother or sister that's special needs, but they don't take him out. So that guy was like, I never saw anybody like,
And they just get worse,
yeah. But like,
unfortunately.
when someone's like, I never saw this growing up, like they might not have like
Yeah.
things were different.
No, yeah, that's a very good point, man. And so I never really thought of it from that perspective either. And so this is exactly why I like talking to people that are able to disagree with me in a legitimate manner and portray it in a non-violent manner, or like a hey
Oh yeah,
fuck
some
you.
people get super argument.
No, 100%. Like I
Like
mean,
I'm very like enjoy using or like working with like special needs kids and helping them out, but I use the
that's
R word all
awesome.
the time.
I
Like
do
my
too. I
dogs, like I'm
do.
like you're a
Yeah.
retard, you're a retard. Like
And
like
and I feel bad about it too, but I'm also of the very big belief is we empower the word. And once we start to realize that we give power to every word that we get upset about, I think we
yeah, I
we
think
become better, because I
and in
was called a
context too.
wetback all the time growing up,
Yeah, but then a
being
lot of times
Mexican.
that was just like a joke though. Like
Yeah, it
they were
was
just dudes being dudes.
exactly, but like
No one meant it
if I got
like
mad about it, it was what good did that do me?
there's like
You know what I mean?
I think there's a difference between
Certain
like
words have a little bit deeper
yeah, well,
ingraining.
like
Yes.
you can use whatever words you want, whether it's a racial slur, swear, whatever. But if you,
Context is a lot.
yeah, if you're joking with your buddies or your friends or as long as like no one's like physically hurt, you're not being malicious. Like there's a difference between like just joking and then
Yeah.
like even if you're joking on a stereotype of somebody, like some of those people that you might use as
There's a
stereotype
reason
laugh about it.
stereotypes exist. It's because most of
Like
them are true. Like, it's sorry, but it's the case.
yeah, or just whatever, and it's just like
I'm Mexican. I like strawberry shit.
yeah, exactly. Like it
I don't know
just
that's why, but I sure do, and I fall right into it. I'm Mexican. They happen to always like strawberry stuff.
yeah,
They
but
love that strawberry milk, baby.
like there's people.
It's like everyone needs to stop thinking that because you're offended that person that offended you needs to be punished by the law.
Yeah,
Like, come on, dude.
if someone offended you, it's like either you two go outside and you work it out, like in a
Or try to understand
fisticuffs,
why
or
that
you don't
offended
like
you.
yeah.
Why did that offend you, really? What was it with what was being said? Is it because when someone saw you and you looked like a girl and you really are trying to be a boy, that's why it offended you? Or is it because that you really just are just, what is it that's offending you that I didn't completely see you as who you are? Because it's essentially that's your decision to make yourself look like who you want to look like. If you're not fully looking like a woman, but you want to be called a woman, you can't expect everyone to know that never has met you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
or
if you want to be a woman, be a woman. If you're a guy that wants to go through all the changes, do what you want to.
here
Children, leave them alone. But outside of that, do whatever you want to.
or someone like sometimes even
Just
aside
don't get
from
upset when I don't know.
aside from misgendering, like if you think about how like you and I dressed as a kid looking like just punks, and an adult might not give you the respect right away of like,
Yeah.
hey, this guy knows something, or he's like this kid's respectful or whatever. Like it just, oh, he's got like those baggy jeans and a chain
Yeah, this kid
wallet,
be
or
fuck it.
like a ball.
You always got
metal
shit for
necklace.
your chain wallet.
Yeah, like people kind of look at you like, or like you walk into a store and like, oh, better watch those kids because they're
Back in the day, I guarantee no teacher would have thought that you were sitting here educating children.
oh yeah, like just the way you, but
Mm.
like it's just
It was just who you were, though. It was how you wanted to express yourself.
Yeah.
And if someone made fun of you for it, whatever. You didn't want to go take their job.
I wasn't gonna be offended. Like if you
Yeah.
said, "Hey, your leopard spots in your hair are stupid," like
I
okay,
remember
cool.
that.
Like yeah, it's, just like any of that stuff, and then like
You Miley Cyrus junior high, bro. You came in there like a wrecking ball.
exactly, yeah, that
It-
was.
It was you were
But
definitely
we were on cross country, weren't you? We were both on
shot put,
no
shot
like,
put, and cross country and
I
track and field.
I did cross country in 8th grade, and I thought you.
I did
were
it.
in
Yeah,
seventh.
well,
We were in seventh at
yeah.
the time.
They brought me in. Yeah,
Because Miss Janota was our coach, I think, right? Didn't we have her as the?
Miss Janota did it in 6th grade. I thought in 7th and 8th it was Mrs. Montgomery.
Well, no, like she was one of the. It was her and Miss Janota. I thought were our.
Miss Janota was
Because I remember like we both had her
know
for
I shouldn't say
classes
this,
or
but
something.
I had the hots for Miss Janota.
Yeah,
Whew.
yeah. I remember.
I'm sorry. I know that sounds so creepy, but do you remember Mr. Gracia?
Lincoln Way, yes.
No, at junior high.
No, who?
Beautiful young lady.
I'm trying to remember. There was a lady at like a substitute teacher.
She had
it was
scary
English
hearing,
teacher.
though. She was history. She had really scary hearing, and like I would be like, dude, she's so hot. Dude, she's Nico, I can hear you. I'm like,
Oh,
God darn it! Like, yeah, but she was cool. She
Yeah.
was real cool. She was a nice teacher.
I remember there was a teacher. It was me and a couple. It was like 3 or 4 other dudes that were in 3rd period math. That a teacher quit, and then we got brought into the office and said, "Hey, if there's anything that happens, you guys are going to be separated." Because like we think that like they thought we made her quit.
Made her quit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we were just like, that was right before Mr. Shaughnessy got hired. He was the replacement teacher.
Oh, Mr. Shaughnessy was the bomb.
Yeah. And I remember like this just. I don't even know, like, the lady, like, she came in and, like, I remember her, like, talking her into just writing grades on, like, my thing for, like, cross country. I'm like, "Listen, I'll turn in my homework later. Can I just, put a C on there for me?"
Yeah.
And whatnot. But, like, yeah, it was weird. Like, kind of thinking about, but yeah, that
No,
was
cross
different
country was
time.
fun. It was no, and and that's another thing too. It's like I just really wish that people would understand that everyone makes mistakes. If someone's
Oh
gonna make
yeah.
the mistake, if they keep making it,
Or
crucify them.
like, yeah, like I went through and like, like when you get the Facebook memory thing, I was always trying to delete like posts that just didn't come off right or something. Because I like Colin was kind of like getting on me. He's like, just make sure you don't have anything on there that's ever gonna like be someone's gonna be upset with us or whatever. Because like we get hired by all kinds of people. So like,
And so with that, yeah, that has to be hard.
like on Facebook, I never once in a while I might post some like more right wing stuff, but usually it's always crosstown exotic stuff or it's my family, kids kind of thing, or I don't know, like random funny stuff that I might find here and there. But like I always try to stick with like just because like so many people are like, my feelings, like
Yeah.
and even people like you're friends with, and it's like you don't want to sometimes like you don't want to argue with someone that's your friend, like, hey, like you have a different viewpoint, cool. I don't want to call you stupid, like, but it might come to that because,
I think you should be able to. If I ever sound stupid, just be like, "Hey, man, I don't know. You're sounding kind of dumb
yeah,
right now." And like, I do have some things like, there's my tinfoil hat stuff where like, that's just like the out there having fun
yeah.
stuff. But then there's certain things where it's like, no, I've researched this stuff, and like, I do think that this has a lot more of a factual side to it. And people may disagree. Like the whole what we were discussing the other night when we were talking about the cranial size increase, and they
Oh
said,
yeah,
"Oh, isn't that just a credit to an increase
it's in
in
protein or something.
it,
Yeah,
but what I said to him, it was never answered. Is okay. Well, we were following herd animals for hundreds of thousands of years through winters.
yeah.
So when did our protein intake increase? And then the other side to this story is what is coming out now is we're seeing an average decrease in the cranial size.
Oh really?
That blows up evolution in my eyes because how is
Well,
that making
so
sense?
evolution isn't like a straight line. A lot of times people look at that classic image of like a monkey going to a chimp to a
Well,
person.
that's how they portrayed it. That's how they
Yeah,
believed it for a very long time. It's
evolution's
now
like
become different with
it's like,
branches.
yeah, like if you think of a branch and it stops and it goes and it ends right here, and it and I'm trying to think of like a couple of good definitions for evolution is descent with modification, and then the other one was change in allele frequency. I was like thinking about this from college, and like allele frequency is just like what's in your genes.
Yeah.
Like you get enough people with small craniums, and like let's say like they're in a religion where you marry your first cousin, you're gonna get a lot more of that gene, and your
Yeah.
heads get small, and then eventually those like the Habsburgs, like with the goofy dude with the jaw, like that they died out because they were marrying their family.
Yeah.
So like that
That's like
group of
the what
people,
the most inbred family in
I think
America
so.
or something
No,
like that.
it was in Spain. It was like a royal
Oh, really?
family.
Okay. Oh,
Like
yeah,
this
yeah,
guy,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. I know
like
what you're talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was Spain. But
I
like
believe
yeah,
you're right.
the Whitakers is you ever see that guy who does the soft white underbelly? He
Yeah.
kind of
What?
no, that's the name. Like
Soft white underbelly?
I think that's what it's called. But like he interviews like he'll interview like a former prostitute, a
Yeah.
former cop, almost just like how you're kind of getting all these different people. He would, and he would just be like, "Tell me about your life," and like that's what they would do. But he found these people in like West Virginia that when he went up to their house, the the one dude greeted him by barking. He was like, "Bark, bark,
Keep
bark,"
going.
like
I'm just gonna
yeah.
grab a hoodie.
But like it, their parents were first cousins, and they all ended up with like severe. There's a couple of them with like severe retardation where like you could just tell like you're just like that's because your parents were related kind of thing,
Yeah.
and they lived in like a shack. But the guy doing the interview, like he would go back and he would like take him to Walmart and go buy him like
Are you
like
cold?
no, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah. But like it was just interesting watching because like it just you when you think of an inbred family in Appalachia, like it was like it's a mountain
Well,
town.
there's still a lot of mountain people out there.
Yeah.
They do like teeth work on them and stuff.
I went down on the rabbit hole with like trying to listen to creepy pastas on feral people.
It was a Hasburg.
Yeah. And like thinking about feral people's crazy, just like
Dude,
hills have eyes kind of thing or wrong turn where it's just like
when you watch people, because like working at the airport, people watch a
yeah.
lot. Um, you see how still connected we are to our feral side. When you see people eat sometimes, like it's like, dude, that person's looks
Yeah.
feral as fuck right now. Like, what the hell?
I remember when I was in Hawaii, they had this chicken place in the airport, and I remember just being, like, so hungry, like, "Brr," like, I probably looked like one of those feral
Yeah,
people.
no, but sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
I looked probably feral today. I had my steak and I could forgot to bring a knife because you can't bring knives into the airport either.
Yeah, yeah.
But I had to use plastic and it kept breaking, so I was literally biting it and just ripping it.
Yeah, no, I could
I probably looked
that's
like a fucking
well, you
savage.
like, you can't have any utensils, I feel like, like, you think about, like, if you have a knife or a fork, I feel like 'cause eat the same thing.
Yeah,
Rather
well,
not
the
have it
shit
than
kept snapping. Yeah, no, I
another
mean,
issue.
my whole thing is I'm switching more to meat. Like I actually just what I've been doing is kind of experimenting with it, like going really hard on meat and then cutting it off and seeing what happens to my body a little bit
Yeah.
on like short periods. And I just went through a huge protein, like not like a
So, like
cleanse of it, but I stopped because I've been eating steak 2 to 3 times a day.
okay.
Um, or some type of meat, mostly steak though. And I'm doing it because in September I will have bought my cow and I'm going to try to go for a minimum of 3 months, but I'm going to try to go for the whole winter of just eating meat like we did
Okay.
with like our ancestors. They followed those herds. They weren't getting vegetables
Like,
and
almost like
fruit.
that paleo diet kinda thing, but
It's going to kind of be like that, but I'm more carnivore. But what I'm going to do, my whole thought process behind this is I want to get things that are more locally sourced because less pesticides. I want to try to grow more of my own food, and I only want to eat things that are in season because
okay.
this whole eating things out of seasons where we get a lot of genetic modifications and things like that, and then a lot of this stuff is traveling so far it literally almost has no nutritional value when we're intaking it, and so it's really just as bad as that candy bar.
Eggs are like that. A lot of people don't
Um,
realize how, like, those eggs have been on a shelf for a while before you get them, because, like, they have to go through processing, then they have to go through, like, from, like, the distributor to the store, and then eggs can last for, like, months on a shelf, because, like, my wife does chickens, so we have eggs all the time, and,
that's
like,
awesome.
I remember
Wish I
asking her
could.
about that, because, like, sometimes we have eggs, like, they're in the fridge for a while, but
Yeah,
if they're cold and if you don't wash them, they stay better longer, because there's, like, a
a layer
when they come out of the chicken, there's, like, this protective coating.
like a bacterial layer or
Yeah, so
something
a
like
lot
that.
of times, like, when we sell them, we'll let people know, like, "Hey, they're not washed," because, like, obviously, like, you wanna clean them, but,
Yeah.
they last longer when you don't. But, like,
Hmm.
just it was crazy, like, I remember her telling me that, and then we watched, like, some Netflix thing, I think it was Rotten series on chicken eggs or something, but,
Yeah.
yeah, like, chicken eggs are, like, almost like a month old by the time you get them.
That's crazy, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it's like
They're
they've been
traveling so
around for a
far,
bit,
yeah.
yeah.
That's a good point, thank you for informing me on that. Um, but yeah, my whole reason behind this is just to try and eat healthier because, like, I was trying to shop healthier and, like, every as soon as you start to look at anything that isn't, like, a raw food, and when
Yeah,
I say raw food, I mean, like, broccoli, celery, meat, something that's, like, we harvested it and it looks the same, it is the same, we're
yeah.
not processing it. Um, and I just wanna that's the only stuff that I feel like I can trust now. Because every time you start to drill into something, like I was like, let me look at the barbecue sauce. I love barbecue sauce. I'll eat barbecue sauce over
Yeah.
ketchup. Fucking high fructose corn syrup, the first thing. I look at my vitamins, high fructose corn syrup. What the fuck are you putting that in vitamins
Yeah,
for?
yeah.
Like, that's
High fructose I
counterproductive.
feel like high fructose corn syrups and everything, but
It is, but
I will say
what don't you get it in? You don't get it
I
in meat. You
switched
don't get
to,
it in vegetables.
yeah, I take in gummy vitamins, because, like,
Like, get away from those.
I used to do all these different pills, and I'll be
Just
good for a month, and then I'll get 1 or 2 days where I'm like, "I can't swallow that today," and then all of a sudden I stop, so, like,
the
I
gummies are the ones with high fructose, though.
there's
It's
some
because
yeah,
the gummy because
that's how
it's a
that's
gelatin.
yeah, because I take, like, just a regular multivitamin, then I started doing a fish oil one. I have helps blood flow, uh, one, because I ended up having high blood pressure, which, I found out my mom had high blood pressure, so I was like, "Oh, interesting that I like." So it's some I need to get healthier, but also some genetics on that. And then,
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a podcast to listen to with about heart disease though,
for
like
sure,
about heart stuff.
yeah. And then I get those RE mushroom gummies.
Okay.
They're all over TikTok, but they got like reishi and lion's
You
mane.
got to check where it's coming from though, because a lot of stuff is coming from China, and that stuff
Ooh,
is produced in the nastiest conditions. Um, Listen to Paul Stamets. He's the guy that did the
fantastic fungi.
yeah,
Yeah, because he's got a whole line.
he
His
does,
stuff's
and
expensive, but I was like
but
gonna look
it's
into.
properly. It's
Yeah,
this dude is kind of an elitist when it comes to mushrooms,
yeah.
and not saying that in a bad way. I know that term is used
My
usually.
wife and I
Yeah,
nerded out watching, like, I always thought fungus was cool, and then, like, she started liking it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm just like, her and I just kind of nerded out. Like, we have a bunch of, like, different mushroom like decorations and
That's really
stuff.
cool,
And
dude.
I think like one year for Christmas, I got her like an identification book with like a it's like a special knife for collecting
Me and
mushrooms.
my daughter do that. So me
Yeah,
and my daughter, every time it rains in the spring or like, when it's warm
yeah.
out, we go and collect mushrooms and we put them in a little container and then we put them in the garden. We
Oh,
use
very
it to,
cool. Like compost and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I do go and buy mushroom compost every year and mix it in.
yeah,
But I figure, hey, why not? You
yeah.
know what I
No,
mean?
and then
um,
there's those. I haven't got into too much, but you can buy these nutrient blocks that are seeded with mushrooms, and like a lot of times you just get them wet, and then
well, yeah, just grow
this
it, yeah.
mushroom grows because my tortoises like them. So like
Oh, really? That's
yeah,
super
I don't
cool.
like eating mushrooms at all.
I
Like they
can't take
gross
him.
me out. Yeah,
Nope.
just the texture of them
Yeah.
grosses me out, and
Don't like the way they smell
but
either.
I like like I like watching them grow and that whole thing, and then feed them to the
No, they're very
tortoises.
interesting. And like you were saying, lion's mane is a great one.
For you,
Turkey's tail is as
yeah,
well. They give you a lot of the psychological benefits that psilocybin gives you without the psychoactive
yeah,
effects. So you're getting neuroplasticity, neurogenesis. You get
a lot of
disassociation
focus.
factors. You get a boost in your immunity.
You know what
Um,
I think is crazy is when they I think that guy that you were mentioned who
pulse stimulants.
yeah, he brought up how like a neuron in your brain looks like the hyphae of a fungus. Like, hyphae of fungus are like their roots, and it's like
So
weird.
the mycelium.
Yeah, the mycel yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like like the individual
Yeah, it
yeah,
does. No, it really
the
does.
but yeah, the mycelium in there like it looks at like it's almost like Avatar. Like,
Yeah.
everything's linked. It's
It's okay, so Avatar is kind of what sent me into the back to like, because I've ever since I was young, when I watched about the pyramids, I was like, dude, why does the oldest pyramid look the best? Well,
okay.
it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? The Giza pyramids are the oldest, some of the oldest, but the ones that are built afterwards are crumbling. What happened? Like, what is the disconnect between those
Yeah.
generations? And so it's always been an odd thing to me. And obviously here and there, I probably did see Graham Hancock, but like I never knew who he was until I watched him on Joe Rogan. I was like, "Holy fuck, where's this guy been my whole life?" Because he gave an answer to what I thought was maybe going on, and then you get into the whole Younger Dryas thing. And do I necessarily believe all of it? No. Do I believe that the Egyptians made the pyramids? I don't believe that because they don't accredit themselves to making it, and because of that, I think that there's legitimacy in passing on whatever you call it. I'm passing on
Knowledge?
yeah.
Okay.
And we always say, oh, well, think of the telephone game, things get miscontorted.
Yeah.
But what we've seen in Native Americans, they have a much higher rate of recall than uh Anglo-Saxon or like than
Yeah.
Europeans. You'll see a lot of them become great spelling bee people, but it's because it was inbred into them. And what they found there, I was watching this thing just yesterday on some weird thing because it was like, oh, decoding learning the alphabet in different languages or something like that, and I tried to get it, and they really just fucking honeypotted me. I couldn't even find it on there, so I went to something else.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
dude, I got honeypotted by Amazon. Um, and I found it, and they were talking about like how the really spoken words we've misunderstood it by using that telephone as a reference. It's actually more accurate than we realize. The mind can remember things wrong, but the way that you teach it through the repetitiveness of it, it's actually ingrained. And I
Oh,
do think we know that every part of their brain stores memory now. It's not just the one spot like we used to think. We
okay.
know that because of psychedelics, because we were seeing when someone was recalling memory, it was coming from spots that their memory shouldn't be coming from.
Yeah.
And so my thing that I think we need to figure out is what causes the memory to be stored there. What stimuli is happening during the memorization of that
Yeah.
stimuli to cause it to be stored there? Because if we can figure that out, we find out where each section goes. Say there's 10 quadrants. Let's
Yeah.
just make it easy. Okay, if I'm humming while I'm reading this, it sends it to that quadrant. So I gotta hum while I do it, and then I gotta go back because
Oh,
everything's repetition.
yeah.
And then when I go back and read it the second time, I have to, be listening to classical music, and it will store it there.
Okay.
And then you go through all those 10 things, you're always going to be able to recall from it.
Yeah.
I think the problem with us like not being able to remember something right away is because it's not stored in enough places through repetition. And so because of that, your brain's searching for it. But the
Okay.
brain is there's as many neural connections as there are like what is it? Galaxies in the universe or
Oh,
something like
yeah.
that.
Like,
Like there's a lot going on up there. So if your brain doesn't have that association to attach to, that's why we're not
yeah.
recalling it. I think. And I know that sounds a little crazy, but it's to me, it's very sensible. And it's gonna take a little more drilling down, but it's something that I'm definitely gonna look into more because if we can start associating what is making it being stored in this area, we could essentially revolutionize education. You know what I mean? Um,
Well, I feel like nowadays, like the stuff they teach kids, like they teach them more and more at younger ages. It seems
well,
like, you know.
yeah, but not enough. Every time
No,
we've pushed forward, kids don't skip a beat. We've always thought that there'd be a lag,
yeah,
but they don't. They always absorb
they
it.
just yeah, it's like a
And
sponge.
in Europe, they've been specializing in high school,
Yeah.
whereas our kids are needing to take 4 years after. I have such bad cotton mouth. Uh, sorry. All right. So, say what you get a kid that graduates high school at 18. This kid graduates with a bachelor's, goes into the workforce, whereas an American kid then has to go to 4 more years of education to get that bachelor's. They are
Yeah,
now 22, working at a 4 year experience deficit, going to apply for the same job. Who's going to get the job?
that's someone with more experience
Exactly.
nowadays. Yeah,
I would probably take the person with more experience over a degree,
I feel
anyways.
like that's how it always like
Yeah.
it is one of those we got kind of like when we were in school, like go to school, and it's like it's a weird like you look back like I'm glad I went to school, but like
Well, our public schools, people think they were set up to educate the population. No, it's they were set up to control the population. And I don't say that in a malicious way,
yeah,
but they were convened by warehouse owners to help suppress future strikes and
oh
allow
okay,
them to kind of they helped structure them in that way. That's why you got to raise your hand. That's why you
yeah,
all sit facing one direction. That's why you have to ask to take a piss or a shit. You need a pass to be in the hallway and all these other little things they're forms of control and their way of to create obedience. Um, and there's JD Rockefeller said, I do not want a population of thinkers.
yeah,
I want a population of followers. And when you have the most elite people thinking of this, shaping our institutions, our uh our academia and all this crap, it's like they're gonna create it to where these people become more compliant. You know what I mean? And so with that, it hinders creativity. Compliance definitely hinders creativity because it doesn't allow you to go outside of the lines.
yeah,
You know, that's actually kind of I've said it on my podcast before, so you might have heard it, but my whole life goal right now is by 2029, I want to have purchased land in right now I'm looking in Tennessee, more towards the opposite side of Nashville, so the eastern side. About 50 acres. I want to have it designated as religious land. I'm going to build a church, then a daycare, a K through 8, and a high school. And I'm not gonna say, "Oh, you have to be Christian to go to my school." No, I'm just doing the church because that's what I believe in, and I believe,
yeah.
it's a good foundation for
Gives
a
you a sense
strong
of community.
community.
Yeah,
Yeah. My sister's like, it sounds like a commune. Like, it's not gonna be a commune. No one's gonna be fucking making you live there and let me
yeah,
fuck your wife and stuff.
yeah.
Like,
Like Jamestown or
dude,
Jonestown or whatever.
they're always fucking everyone's wife. That's all I
Yeah,
know. These motherfuckers got a racket going.
exactly. They're
Um,
always it's always like, oh, I need to sleep with your wife because God said so. I've seen a couple
God's
of those.
telling me I
Yep.
gotta get in them cheeks.
Yeah.
I'll probably cut that out. Where's the time marker on that? Because I'm not saying getting them cheeks. Um, but yeah, no, it's odd, but I kind of lost my train of thought with the whole thing.
Yeah, you were talking about building
Oh, building, yeah, the
yeah.
school. Okay, so I just want to do it so then kids are specializing in high school, so that kids can come out of high school with either an associate's, bachelor's,
Yeah.
or a certificate in a trade, even because I think that'd be even
I think
more.
like they
We get
used to do a lot of that stuff, but like now you don't get as much.
well
Like Lincoln Way, for example, like it's more important to get a high score on the ACT and
than it
the
is to go
SAT
to
than it
like
is to like
do workshop or like
yeah, because like a lot of people,
woodwork,
yeah, your career in tech,
automotive. Yeah.
career like because a lot of times there was a for I think it might even still be like this, but there was a lot of students at Lincoln Way that went into a trade right at like
Well, what do you think all those? What do you think most of Butternut is, and most
yeah,
all those
construction
areas?
workers
They're
and
blue
yeah,
collar
and they're good jobs. It
unions,
just seemed like for a long
electricians and
I when I've done shows at schools, like especially Lincoln Way, every once in a while I'll get like, "Hey, what did you?" They'll ask me like what I took, and I'm like, "I took no chemistry in high school. I took no physics. I only took 3 years of English. I did do 4 years of math. I took earth science, which was like that was the one you took when your like math was low. I took no foreign language, like, and I got a degree in biology, and I have a business. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're doing just fine with. I got an 18 on my ACT. Like, that's a really low
I didn't even take
score.
mine.
Yeah. Oh, geez. But
I
like,
showed
I
up late.
know. Yeah, actually, was it 18 or 16? I know,
Justin
like
Zenovich dropped me off,
my
and Miss what was her name? Started with a J. She was the principal.
Jensen.
Yeah, Miss
Yeah,
Jensen
Dr.
was like,
Johnson. Yeah.
Nico, you're not in trouble, but you gotta go home. I was like, oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah.
Can I call? I can't call my mom to pick me up. She's like, just call whoever just dropped you off. I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
She was the one that kicked me out of Lincoln because she found out I was living with Kaylee's dad,
Oh,
and
that's not. Yeah, that's
because
so
I remember it
bogus.
was freshman year, I went to the nurse and they're like, "Hey, you got to call your mom." I'm like, "No, I got to call my Uncle Bob." And they're like, "No, you got to call your mom." And I'm like, "No, my no one ever explained to me that like our situation was not
Yeah,
okay." Which
you were. I
like
mean,
that
you were
was
a
my
kid. Yeah.
parents should have said, "Hey, don't tell people this." And then they're like, "Wait, you don't live with your parents?" And like, yeah, that was. But yeah, she was like trying to tell me she was gonna come after my parents for like falsifying documents or some other bullshit. And it's like, really,
That's some
you know.
elitist crap right there. Like,
Exactly what she's like. Oh, taxpayers. I'm like, my uncle is a taxpayer. Like,
yeah, no. I
and
mean,
then he
yeah, our
yeah,
taxpayer money went to fucking Wiley's life-size teddy bear,
yes,
and this
yes.
motherfucker's sitting at home because he's too sick to prosecute. Didn't have to pay back any of the money.
Oh, he didn't.
I don't believe so.
Oh,
I could
jeez.
be wrong with that. Sorry, I
I
shouldn't
know.
be
I don't know
spewing that
either. I
shit.
feel like that. Like
Um,
some of those guys should be in jail. Like, it doesn't matter if they're 75. Like, stole a bunch of money. You know.
I mean, North is lost. North is
Oh yeah,
gone. They
yeah.
sold it to Illinois State Police. I'm pretty sure.
I believe. Yes, I believe that's.
Um,
Well, I think North was a. They thought the area was going to grow faster. Like, I
well,
believe
it's,
they.
they I think a lot of it's because of this.
Oh, I mean, it could have been. I thought it was because they projected that there was going to be a certain amount of people moving into the area,
Yeah.
and then we didn't end up getting that.
Well, our student teacher ratio is pretty bad right now. I'm pretty sure
I
in
feel like
the
it's
Lincoln
always been
Ways,
like that though.
but
Like,
it could be better. And
that's
we
true.
paid all this money for
Yeah,
this thing already. Why aren't we filling
and I
it?
know like our, I forgot, like it was like a huge portion of our tax bill goes to Lincoln Way because I remember asking my wife like, I'm like, are we gonna send like we gonna send our kids to like a private school maybe or anything just out out of curiosity. I didn't think we.
Log in to continue reading. I got subscribe
Oh, f
blocked.
that. But like she's like, no, for what we pay in taxes for Lincoln Way, like we're sending our kids to Lincoln Way.
Yeah. No,
She's like,
yeah.
we're paying for it. So
This was when?
2017.
No, 2021.
Oh,
This was the other one was better. The other one was 2023. Here we go. Okay, here we go.
didn't they take like his stuff off? Like, didn't he have like a bunch of awards and stuff too that they took off buildings?
I hope so.
Yeah.
So Lawrence Wiley, former Lincoln Way District 210 superintendent accused of fraud, has more health issues. Court filing indicates the man embezzled millions of dollars from Lincoln Way's school district. He had a life-size teddy bear that supposedly cost $5,000 in his office. I'm sorry, as one of his one of his subordinates, wouldn't it have been a little odd to you that your boss had a life-size teddy bear
Yeah.
in his fucking office?
That's a little weird.
That's ignorance
Yeah.
there. That's straight like that's malicious ignorance
And I
to
bet you
not
like
question
they
that.
probably paid for his vehicle. They probably paid.
He had his cousin training police dogs on the property and keeping the money.
Yeah, but it was like one of those things. Like the school covers more. Like you get your salary, but you also get like your your various like 401k pension.
Oh,
Like they're probably
pensions, yeah.
paying for his vehicle.
This
His
dude was
health
making
insurance.
a
Like,
healthy six figure,
oh yeah,
like probably 300.
and
I'm good.
like,
Here, let's see if we can listen to it. Let's see what it tells us. Oh no, screw you.
oh, they're like, you need to pay for your
Yeah, I
news.
should have just read it. Dang it. Let me see if I can just
Yeah.
read it before I try to play it. Okay. Let's see here. Suffering from ongoing problems and awaiting trial on federal fraud charges, Lawrence Wiley. Oh, they're ad blocking me. Man, everything wants its money nowadays.
Yeah, I know it's.
Let's see. I might just have to get one of these, I guess. Well, pretty much the guy just embezzled a bunch of money and is saying that he's too sick to be prosecuted, and I don't believe
How do you
he's
be
had
too sick to be prosecuted? Like,
yeah, it's such bullshit.
like is like that's like a. If I killed somebody and I was like, oh, I got cancer, you're still gonna prosecute. I mean, whether or not like I'm gonna live for the trial, like
yeah.
just because the guy's old doesn't mean he gets to get. I don't know. It's kind of bogus.
I'm gonna. Oh, this. What does that? There we go. That's what it should be. Okay. What I want to do though is I want to take the next like 15 minutes that we have.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
you
'cause
got
I
a
know-
hard out at 6.
Yeah, I was just looking at the time here. I didn't know.
yeah, it goes by quick.
It does,
It
yeah.
does. And dude, this is I've truly enjoyed this because we did jump around a lot, and there's a lot of things that we can go back to. But I feel like I enjoy your opinions because you're not afraid to express when it's different than mine. And you do it in such an educated way that it's almost
Oh, thank
impossible
you.
to not consider it. And like you have me looking again more at the hey, you don't notice something until you're looking for it type thing. Like
That's a huge thing.
it
Like a lot of
is.
times you don't like, I'm trying to think like birds. Like for a long time you probably think there's big birds and big blackbirds and little blackbirds. And then like when you like look at an ornithology book, you're like, wow, there's like 100 different birds that live in our area. Like, if you don't look for it, it's
Yeah,
yeah.
you only see Cardinals and Blue Jays, you know. But real quick,
I'm
I
just
think
looking
you
at the
got a
time here.
jet
I
now.
gotta yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta skedaddle.
So just
What's the
give
like
a
I,
shout out to your social medias so people
sure.
know where to find
Yeah,
them, like what your tags are and stuff.
definitely. You can find us at Crosstown Exotics on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We have a YouTube, and then our website is crosstownexotics.com. And then a couple events we have coming up. I believe that it was the February 19th, President's Day. We are going to be at the it's called Wild Fest. It's in Lockport.
It's at
So yeah, Delwood Park.
Delwood Park.
So it's us and a couple other educators gonna have some really cool stuff. Um,
I'll be there, folks.
awesome. And then we have
Me and this little girl.
I was looking at my other one that's a local show. On the 24th, we are going to be at Alcipoman Nursery in Frankfurt doing a big show. That one's always got a big turnout there. So
Okay.
another cool thing to check out if
You said
anyone's looking.
February 24th?
Yeah, February 24th.
Okay.
We put all over our Facebook and Instagram and everything. So
Okay. And I'll attach the links in the description, folks, so you'll be able to see it there.
yeah,
Um
definitely.
Well, thank you for joining me. I definitely look
Yeah,
forward to having you back on again just because I enjoyed the conversation outside of all this, but I definitely want to dive more into the crosstown
yeah.
exotic side. Um, so thank you folks for joining us for another episode of The Sound of Sosa. My name is Ryan Porter Sosa. I am your host. I'm joined by Michael Levins, who is co-owner of Crosstown Exotics. I hope to see you guys back here.